Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
John Dehner stars in Frontier Gentlemen. This episode of the program was originally broadcast on June 8th, 1958, and, Kendall's got a little problem.
The events that took place in Shoshone, Wyoming Territory, are still something of a nightmare to me. This report to readers of the London Times will explain why recent dispatches have been delayed.
Frontier Gentlemen. Herewith an Englishman's account of life and death in the West. As a reporter for the London Times, he writes his colorful and unusual stories. But as a man with a gun, he lives and becomes a part of the violent years in the new territories. Now, starring John Dehner, this is the story of J.B. Kendall, Frontier Gentlemen.
The story of my journey to Yellowstone National Park began with the coach of the Yellowstone stage line pulling into the town of Shoshone, midway point between Bear Claw and the national park. Beside myself, the coach carried a Mr. and Mrs. Willis of Baltimore and a thin young man of about 25 whose name was Black. As the driver pulled up in front of the Shoshone Hotel, a group of men came forward to meet us. One of them was wearing the badge of deputy sheriff.
Howdy, Charlie. Well, this seems to be a nice little town.
Yes, does. Let's stretch our legs, my dear. You getting out, Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
According to the schedule, seems we'll have our supper here.
Boys looking for somebody? That's right, Charlie. You tell your passengers to just take it easy. Have them go into the hotel lobby. Right. Folks. Mr. Kendall, Mr. Willis.
Yes?
This here's C.B. Belljoy. He's deputy sheriff. Says for you all to go on in the hotel.
Well, suppose we don't want to.
Well, then, Mr. Black, I reckon you'll have to take that up with him. That right, C.B.?
Mister, you wearing a gun?
No.
Then you got no choice, have you? Now you go on with the others. Just wait in the lobby. The sheriff... Oh, no. Here he comes right now.
Oh, Henry, look at him. He's so
Mercy on a poor sinner.
Howdy. Remember, you, Clyde, boy, mine, son, did fine. Just fine.
Thank you, Paul.
Son of mine, C.B.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Charlie, I hope we ain't put you out too much.
No, sir. We can lay over here tonight if you say so.
Good. And ease the passengers. Clyde, son of mine.
That's right, Paul.
Yeah, ragtail bunch. Well, let's get it over with.
You folks go on in the lobby now. Go on.
Help me get him out.
Clyde, C.B. Mine. Stop sniveling. Help me up. Out of here. Now, you, boy.
I'm here, Paul.
Son, now. That's it. Give me your hand.
Here you are, Paul.
Ain't bright, boy. But now then, pull. Hank. Pull. Hank. Somebody get behind me. That's it now. You two back there. Do that push. Shove. Pull. Push. Shove. That's it. There.
He entered the hotel without further mishap, and we were instructed to take seats facing him. After we had complied, the deputy CB told us why we were being held there.
Paul got a telegraph message a while ago from the sheriff in Bear Claw. Now, it seems like somebody snuck into the Lucky Dollar Saloon office and walked off with a payroll just about when the stage was due to pull out. The sheriff down there...
Ben Johnson.
Yes, Paul.
Johnson.
The sheriff...
Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Ben, yeah.
He figures the man that did it rode off on the stage.
You mean you think it's one of us?
Well, that's what the sheriff in Bear Claw thinks.
Hey, look, Gildy. It could be in cahoots. Boy.
Now, just a minute, Sheriff.
Who's he?
What? Name's Willis, Paul. Says it's his wife traveling with him.
Woman looks like her. Gotta be his wife.
What?
Wife.
Sheriff, would you mind
Don't bother me during court, mister.
Court?
That's right.
But this ain't a...
Right.
I mean, this can't be no court. Where's the judge and the jury?
Mr. Black, this here is Paul's court.
You mean it's kangaroo court?
Why, you call me a kangaroo? Well, you dirty. $50. Give me
$50 for what?
Contempt for 50 days, which you decide.
But you can't... Mr. Kendall.
Excuse me, Sheriff. But according to law, a sheriff doesn't have the authority to exercise a fine from anyone in court. Only the judge can do that.
A judge just did it.
You mean he's the sheriff and the judge?
And the jury. And the mayor, and the town council.
Executioner, boy, you forgot. Executioner.
Well, that too. Executioner,
all
yes,
right,
sir.
All right, now we understand. Let's get on with it. Bring him to attention. Attention, son.
Yes, sir.
Son.
This court's hereby in session. Judge Granger Belljoy presiding.
First case, the people against thief of the Lucky Dollar in Bear Claw. Oh, now, which one of 'em you reckon did it, son? Him?
Henry.
Sheriff,
Reckon not. No. She wouldn't let him loose long enough to rob a saloon. It must be you, mister.
No, Pa, that's the English fella.
Yeah, foreigner. Pussy-footin' foreigner.
That's how I figured.
No guts. He wouldn't do it if he was starving. Really livid, starving.
Well, that leaves him, Pa.
Yeah. Now, how do you plead? What's his name?
Black.
Name, how do you plead? Black.
Plead?
Yeah.
I ain't pleading no way to something I didn't do.
Innocent. But boy, you look guilty as here. Might as well confess.
But I didn't do nothing.
Sheriff.
You keep out of this, Mr. Kendall.
Black, you say you're innocent.
Yeah.
I say you're guilty. You got witnesses.
Why, no, I got no...
Sheriff. Judge Belljoy, Your Honor. Sheriff.
Yeah, what is it, Charlie?
Judge, sir, Sam over the telegraph office told me to give you this.
Oh.
Just come in.
Now, let's see. Let's see that. Over. From the Sheriff, Bear Claw, man robbed saloon known to be tall. All regards, Johnson. Tall?
Well, that lets me out.
Yeah, it sure does. It's gotta be the Englishman then, Pa.
Now, just a minute here.
Kendall, don't you try nothing.
Henry, help him.
Grab hold of that Englishman, boy.
I don't
need
to, Pa.
Grab.
He tries anything, I'll ventilate him with this here shooting iron.
Good, son of mine. Good. Now, Kendall, I hereby sentence you to a term 2 years, my jail.
Being incarcerated in the Shoshone jail wasn't the most pleasant experience, but I did manage to sleep. And while I was oblivious to the cares of the outside world, I learned later that Sheriff Belljoy received another telegraph message from the Sheriff of Bear Claw.
Read it out loud.
Yes, I'll read it. It says, a thief captured here. He has confessed robbing Lucky Dollar Saloon. Release your prisoner, signed John. Why, that lowdown. Ornery.
Oh, that means I ain't gonna have nobody to learn me manners and the like.
Yes, you are, child. Your pa promised you, and there ain't nobody makes as good a teacher of manners as such as a foreigner. Ain't that right, Granger?
I'm gonna have to let him go.
Why?
Oh.
Why can't you just pretend you didn't get no message?
You know why, woman.
You let him go. What's gonna become of me, Pa?
That's right. Look at her. Your own flesh and bloody image. Poor thing.
Yeah.
You think anybody's gonna pay her any mind when she don't even have good mannered learning?
Now, Laureen, sweet potato, mine. You...
Don't lard up to me.
Woman, it ain't my fault.
You don't want me to have no learning, no English learning or nothing.
Oh, honey, part I do, but...
You want your daughter to have the best. You'll tear up that message. You'll make believe you never got it.
And the Englishman will be made a trustee like you promised, and he'll learn me all he knows, whether he likes it or not.
Granger Belljoy, tear it up.
Woman, you female. Gritty.
Ma, he's doing it! Oh, Pa!
Oh, here, now, don't overexcite yourself, honey pot. Best you be getting along to bed now.
Yes, Ma. Night, Pa!
Night.
You done right for her. And after a year or so, that Englishman might get used to her. Might even decide to stay here permanent.
Uh-oh, that's not good. J.B. Kendall, The Frontier Gentleman, June 8th, 1958 on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
The character J.B. Kendall, the Frontier Gentleman, was actually a veteran of the British Army in India. But he also became a reporter for the Times of London, writing his accounts and, of course, running into a lot of the things that would happen in the western United States, and he became fairly adept to it. Show only ran for just a few months, February 2nd to November 16th, 1958, and Sundays, 7 p.m. on CBS. And the interesting thing is the reason the show ended was because they went to John Dehner starred in another show you might have heard of, Have Gun Will Travel, on the radio. Now more, The Frontier Gentleman here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, June 8th, 1958.
The morning following my arrest, I was served an unusually tasty breakfast by an unusually beefy young woman named Mercy Day Belljoy. Between giggles, she managed to indicate that she admired foreigners. About an hour later, I was taken under guard into Sheriff Belljoy's office.
Here he is, Paul.
Yeah, Kendall, I'm going to come to the point, if I can. Now, daughter of mine, Mercy Day, her mother, want you should learn her proper. Oh, boy, tell him.
Well,
What Paul means, Mr. Kendall, is that he's offering you a chance to be somebody around here, a trustee. Come and go as you like, long as we have your word you won't run off.
Yeah.
Now, how about it? Well, you got something to say, ain't you?
I have more than something to say. Sheriff, has it ever occurred to you that I might have friends, business associates and the like, who will note my disappearance and start asking questions?
Well, like who?
Yeah, like who?
For your information, I happen to be a duly accredited correspondent of the London Times.
Well, now, what does that mean, Paul? That duly accredited...
Means his credit's good.
Oh, is that so?
That is not so. What it means is that the newspaper I work for expects to receive a journalistic report from me within the next fortnight. When they don't receive it, somebody's going to start asking questions. And when that happens, they'll start looking for me.
Paul, they ain't going to have much trouble finding him. Why, those folks on the stage...
They're long gone. On, aren't they?
Yeah, but... Well, what about his writings?
They're going to receive it just the same as usual. Only, Kendall, you write one word about being in this predicament. Predicament. And mess. You won't get no food at no time. No time. You won't get out of that cell. Well.
That's it.
So.
Well, how about it, Kendall?
So.
Now, you want to eat, don't you? And that cell can get mighty small after being in it 24 hours steady. Now, are you going to do what Paul wants you to? Learn my little system manners and behave yourself? Or are you going to stay in your cell?
Well, I don't seem to have much of a choice, do I?
No, sir. You sure don't.
The first lesson was arranged in the Belljoy backyard. I was escorted to the house, then turned loose in Mercy Day's lair. And she was eager. One can say that for her. And she tried hard.
Mr. Kendall, I just love the way your lip curls up when you talk. Say it again for me.
How now, brown cow?
That's it. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, there's my ma. I want her to hear that piece. Ma! This man's learning me so good.
Fine, honey pot.
How now, brown cow? Ain't that just the stuff?
That's fine. She's doing fine, ain't you, mister?
Well, quite nicely.
What about her manners? You ain't forgetting her manners, are you?
He sure ain't. He already done told me a lady don't spit in front of a man no matter how much she wants to.
Well, I declare. What's she supposed to do?
That's right. You didn't tell me that, mister, what she's supposed to do.
The lessons continued, and as the days passed, my hope for an early rescue waned. Even if someone did come to Shoshone to inquire about me, Belljoy would deny ever having seen a journalist from England. And as for my reports to the Times, well, Mercy Day was a good cook, and I disliked going hungry. So the reports were sent off per contract, except for one small detail. Those mailed by Belljoy were almost verbatim copies of the first reports I sent home after arriving in this western wilderness. Sooner or later, someone would arrive to inquire about me. But when help did come, it was from an unexpected quarter.
Kendall, you come on out of there. My pa wants to talk with you.
Oh? What about?
You'll see, and I sure pity you. Why, he's sitting in the office with a bottle of whiskey in front of him, and his face so red, he looks like it's going to explode.
On! What's on? Who'll make her? Female stealer!
No, Pa!
No.
He ain't none of them things!
Oh, he ain't. We'll see. You, Kendall. You, Kendall, over here.
Why, Mr. Kendall, how charming to see you!
Pa.
Here, Kendall.
Pa.
Yeah.
Pa. Before you get started, can I have a suck off of that bottle?
Boy, you get... Scott!
Yes, sir.
Kendall, you miserable female stealer. Conniving. Scheming.
Pa, he ain't.
Yeah.
It isn't none of that. He loves me.
He ain't in love. He's sick. He's sick. Hick. Look at his face.
But he does love me. Tell him, Mr. Kendall.
Mercy Day. Sheriff, I
It's all right, honey. You just speak up.
Sheriff, I have no intentions, honorable or otherwise, toward your daughter.
Paul, you scared him. He can't say it to you like he did to me.
I said what to you, Mercedes?
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways.
But that's poetry.
Sure is. Prettiest thing I ever heard.
Wait a minute. A minute now. You really did say such words to my little girl, Kendall?
He just admitted it.
Well, yes. But that's part of your...
Part of courting me, huh, honey pot? Paul, why don't you pronounce us man and wife right now?
Later, much later, I returned to my cell, still a bachelor, a state Mercedes seemed determined to change. Belljoy had ordered the lessons stopped, my privileges as trustee rescinded. I was contemplating my dark future when I heard it. A scraping sound, just outside my cell.
Kendall! You, Kendall! Come over to the window.
Who is it?
Me, Charlie, the driver.
I thought you and everybody else had forgotten about me.
No, just waiting for the right time. Besides, I couldn't do nothing as long as I was sitting atop the stage. I had to wait for my day off, which is now.
June 8th, 1958, Frontier Gentleman here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll hear the conclusion following these important words from your favorite radio station.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Frontier Gentleman, June 8th, 1958.
Charlie, take a message to...
No, don't fool with messages. I aim to get you out of there.
If you do, I'll be in your debt forever.
Hush all that jabber. Ain't no time for it. Now look, the stage leaves for Bear Claw in half an hour, and you're going to be on it.
How?
Yeah, with this. You know how to use one of those, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Yes, I do.
Now, the sheriff's going to dinner. Won't be back. Only CB's here. Just don't shoot anybody you don't have to. Oh, and remember, half an hour. You just be out front, wave, the stage will stop. I won't be driving, but it's all set so you can get aboard.
Thanks, Charlie. Oh, Charlie. Why are you doing this?
Well, Mr. Kendall, you won't believe this, but you know that little gal, that Mercy Day?
Oh.
You're ruining her. teaching her good manners and such. She thinks she's getting too good for me. You keep on. She won't marry me ever.
You know the saying, one man's meat is another's... Well, you know it. 15 minutes later, I walked to the door of my cell and yelled for CB. He responded, took one look at the gun in my hand and promptly agreed to surrender his gun and step into my cell, which I just as promptly locked. A few minutes later, the stage pulled up and I stepped aboard. It wasn't until some time after I returned to Bearclaw that I was told what had happened when Sheriff Belljoy learned of my escape. He was sitting on his back porch with Charlie, the driver.
So he lit out like a big saddled bird.
Boy, good. He fell for it, huh? Really thought he was escaping. Oh, my. Pussyfooter, huh? Oh, you... Now, Charlie, you remember now, the women gotta think that he really escaped.
Yes, sir. Don't worry. I'll remember.
Good. Maybe someday you'll be assistant deputy. You like that, Charlie boy?
Like it?
Why?
Yes, sir, Mr. Belljoy. That'd be just fine.
Sticky females. Bad enough having them practice manners, talking English. You know, Charlie boy, I couldn't spit in front of them anymore.
No.
For a fact. And if you think that I'd let that giggle patch daughter of mine, marry up with something like him, that pussyfooting foreigner, boy, you driver, Charlie boy, how you like to be my son-in-law, Charlie?
What, Sheriff? Judge?
Mayor.
I'd like it just fine.
Good, yeah. Son-in-law, mine, Charlie boy. Good.
Frontier Gentleman was produced and directed by Anthony Ellis and stars John Dehner as J.B. Kendall. Mr. Dehner was also heard as Sheriff Belljoy. The story was written by Charles B. Smith. Featured in the cast were Richard Perkins, Virginia Gregg, Ron Meader, Jeanette Nolan, Harry Bartell, and Stacey Harris. Join us again next week for another report from the Frontier Gentleman. Alan Botzer speaking.
From June 8th, 1958, Frontier Gentleman on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Adver what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or Die, Dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of the soap opera Claudia. This originally broadcast on June 8th, 1948.
And now, Claudia.
La 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 la.
Good morning, Mrs. Brown. Why, your coffee smells perfectly wonderful.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Norton, for those few kind words.
Oh, David will be down in a minute. I'll set the table.
That's all set.
Where? I don't see.
In the dining room.
And since when do we eat breakfast in the dining room on Gertrude's day off? What's the matter? Isn't the kitchen good enough for you?
I thought with Geoffrey being here to be so crowded. He's such a big, tall fellow.
Yes, children do seem to grow bigger these days than they used to, don't they? Oh, here, let me squeeze the orange juice.
16 isn't a child exactly. But I know what you mean. I've noticed it myself. No pits, if you don't mind, in the orange juice.
You see too much. Do you think our child will?
Will what?
Be tall. I'd love to have a tall son.
You'll take what you get, tall or short, and you'll like it. After all, David isn't a giant, and neither are you.
David is 6 feet.
But just an ordinary, nice 6 foot. You wouldn't single him out in a crowd.
I hope you mean that as a compliment.
I do.
But Roger isn't as tall as David, and look at Geoffrey.
Isn't Mrs. Killian tall?
You know, I've never met Jeff's mother. I haven't the least idea what she's like.
Funny, isn't it? I mean, with David and Roger partners who've never met his wife.
Yes, you'd think she'd have us for dinner or something. Except they live in a hotel and she's hardly ever home.
She sounds very social.
Well, it's not that so much. She's very public-spirited, you know. Political meetings and things of that sort. I'm just as glad we've never met her. She'd give me an inferiority complex.
That's what she's given Jeff, I imagine.
Oh, David, you scared the life out of me. That is a nasty thing to do, eavesdrop.
I wasn't eavesdropping. I merely walked into the kitchen looking for my breakfast.
It's in the dining room.
Oh.
Mama has to go and put on airs on Gertrude's day off.
Oh, I forgot about it being Gertrude's day off. Say, will Jeff be an awful nuisance to you?
Nonsense.
Of course not. We have to eat, too, don't we?
Well, he's a pretty big fella to have underfoot.
Oh, he won't be underfoot. He'll be working outdoors. That was the point of his being here, remember?
That's not very nice to put your guest to doing chores.
That's the best thing for him. Say, look, does Mother know about Jeff, Claudia?
Ooh, well, it was so late when we got home last night, No, I haven't said anything.
I think it would be better if she knew. After all, this is in the nature of a problem that the three of us will have to handle as long as he's here.
I had an idea something was wrong with the boy the minute I saw him. He seemed so unhappy and remote. Not a bit like a youngster.
He's got quite a bit to be unhappy about, Mother. He's been expelled from school for cheating on exams.
Oh.
Mama's shocked.
Oh, not so much shocked as sorry. I think there's a reason if a thing like that happens to a nice person. He must be a nice person. You can see that just to look at his face. So sensitive and vulnerable.
Good for you, Mother. I was afraid you'd be a little straight-laced and old-fashioned.
Seeing as I never cheated when I was young.
You never had to. I didn't care particularly what your marks were in school. That's where I was old-fashioned. As long as you ate a good breakfast and stayed healthy and happy, I didn't care very much whether you got an A or a D.
So I got a D. Once I got an A, though.
I don't believe it.
Yes, I did. I failed in math, but I got an A in English. What exam did Geoffrey? I
didn't ask him. We haven't talked about it.
Maybe he'll sort of unburden to Mama and me. Being women, he might.
He might, but I wouldn't count on it. Suppose I go up and see if he's ready for breakfast.
I think you better. I haven't heard a sound from his room.
I'll begin the pancakes.
Pancakes? That's more than you ever did for your son-in-law.
Didn't know you liked them.
I don't. I have to be careful of my girlish figure.
Oh, so do I, Mama. All you've done is to fill us both with conflict.
You don't have to eat them. They're for Geoffrey.
My. The minute there's a strange man around, you just try to make up to him. I never saw anything like it. How do you know he likes pancakes?
Never heard of a 16-year-old boy who didn't. Get the maple syrup out of the closet.
I'm glad you made them, Mama. If I'd have known how, I would have, too. Mama, you know, I think we can do a lot for Geoffrey.
How?
Well, he's had so little home life. I think his mother's been too busy with her own affairs even to talk to him, much less try to draw him out and find out what's going on inside of him.
It won't be easy for either of his parents to accept what's happened. It's not a pleasant thing to have your only child expelled from school in disgrace.
I know it isn't. You must know it. I've always detested a cheat. I had quite a little battle with myself before I could really feel the same toward Jeffrey as I did before.
That's natural.
You too?
Yes.
Huh. We're both rather noble, aren't we? I wonder if David has any reservations.
If he does, he doesn't show it.
Do we show it?
A little.
How?
Being just a shade too nice. David's more natural. He just accepts the boy.
I get it. No pancakes.
Exactly. No pancakes.
But I still think the pancakes were a wonderful idea. They can work wonders. Here's David. Now, is Jeffrey up yet?
Up and gone.
Up and gone? Where?
Just gone.
Oh, don't take it so lightly. Was his bed slept in?
No, of course.
Really slept in or just mussed up?
Is there a difference?
Certainly is.
Say, what are you two women driving at?
David, you don't think he...
Oh, he what?
David's right. He wouldn't be that silly.
You read a lot of things in newspapers. Young people get despondent and desperate. It's easy enough to say things like that don't happen after they happen.
David, is the car in the garage?
Yes, I checked.
You're not so strong-minded yourself. You had the same idea.
Nonsense.
Where do you think he is?
Wherever he is, he'll come back. Let's eat.
And not wait for him?
I don't see much point to it. He mightn't show up for an hour more.
Oh, very well, we'll start frying the pancakes. The griddle's hot enough. The batter's just right.
I don't know what we'd do without you, Mama. I'll get the syrup and put it on the dining room table. David hardly touched his pancakes. And it wasn't because of his shape, either.
He's a little worried about Jeffrey, but he doesn't want to show it.
I'll wash and you dry him.
I'll do both. You go along with David.
He's working in his study. No sense of his doing outdoor stuff with Jeffrey not here. Well, after all, it is something to worry about, Mama. The boy's our responsibility with his father in Chicago and his mother off heaven knows where. They don't even know that Jeffrey's left school.
I wonder if David's right in not going out to look for him.
He says he doesn't want to make it seem that important to Jeff. He says if he doesn't come back by lunch, it's time enough to begin to think what to do about it.
What's Bluff barking about?
I don't know. I'll look out the window and see. He's just barking, that's all. Hey, wait a minute, he sees somebody. It's Jeff. He's just coming out of the woodland from the brook.
I guess the dog doesn't know him yet.
Jeff isn't even patting him. He's stalking along with his head down. It's unnatural for a boy of 16 not to pay any attention to a Great Dane.
The whole situation isn't exactly natural.
He's coming in the kitchen way. Let's just act as if nothing's happened. Oh, I feel so sorry for him, really.
Set a place right here. It'll make him feel at home.
Wonder if he drinks coffee. Probably want milk. Oh, I hope so. There's no coffee left.
I'll make him whatever he wants. Cocoa, probably.
That's a good idea. Oh, hello, Jeff.
Good morning, Mrs. Norton.
Good morning, Jeff. You were up nice and early.
Good morning, Mrs. Brown. I hope you didn't wait breakfast
Nope,
for
we
me.
didn't, but everything's ready. Cocoa or milk? Or coffee?
Nothing, thank you.
But you have to drink something with your pancakes. Would you like some tea?
No, thank you. I'm not hungry.
You mean you're not going to eat anything?
I'm not hungry.
Oh, such nice pancakes with syrup. The grill's all hot and ready for them.
I couldn't eat anything, please.
You can't go out and work on an empty stomach.
Oh, it isn't a good day for working outside. It's begun to rain a little.
It has? Oh, dear, these April showers that come in June. I want my money back.
You'll get it all back in this merry month of June with your roses. Do you like gardening, Jeff?
No, I don't think so.
Have you ever done any of it?
No.
Oh, maybe you wouldn't hate it if you tried it. Jeff, won't you change your mind about some breakfast? It might make you feel better.
I feel all right. I'm just not hungry.
Well, David's working in his study. I'll call him, and maybe he'll have something in mind you can do in the barn.
I'd rather not if you don't mind.
Say, Jeff, did you ever curry a dog? Bluff is shedding something awful, and we just haven't had time to give him a good brushing.
I don't think he likes me.
Of course he does. Why, even Shakespeare likes you.
Shakespeare doesn't take to very many people. Look how he's making up to Jeff.
Oh, I don't know anything about cats. We never had a cat.
What kind of dogs did you have?
Well, I never had a dog. We lived in a hotel mostly. Animals aren't allowed in the hotel.
No, it is a little difficult, I guess.
Did you have a pleasant walk, Jeff?
Well, didn't go far.
Didn't you go down to the brook? It's lovely.
No, I just walked a little. If you don't mind, I think... That is, if you'll excuse me, could I go up to my room?
Yes, if you want, but Why don't you stay down here and talk to Mama a minute while I run up and make your bed?
That isn't necessary, Mrs. Norton. I can make my bed. We always made our beds at school.
Oh. But I don't mind, really.
I'd rather make it, and please don't bother with any lunch for me.
Now, what do you want to do? Starve yourself?
I thought I'd take a little walk later. I'll stop off on the road someplace for a sandwich. I'm accustomed to taking care of myself. Please don't fuss about me, Mrs. Norton.
I won't. He's not going to give us a chance to, that's plain.
I feel sort of silly. All dressed up in pretty speeches and good intentions. No place to go.
So do I. One thing I've learned, the way to a boy's heart is not through his stomach.
At least not when he's 16 and hurt. Mama, frankly, I don't know the way to a boy's heart. I feel a total failure as a mother and a psychologist.
I don't feel too bright about it myself. I think the best thing to do is just let him alone.
I'm sure of it. Better tell David he's back.
And you better let him handle Jeff from here on out.
I will. David.
Yes, dear?
I won't disturb you, but I just wanted to tell you Jeff's home.
No, I know.
How'd you know?
I heard the dog bark.
He wouldn't eat any breakfast. Jeff, I mean.
Well, I didn't think he would.
And he said he didn't want any lunch.
Oh, he'll eat. Eventually.
He just went back up to his room. He wouldn't even let me make up his bed.
Darling, I'm sorry he's a pain in the neck. I was afraid he would be. You'll just have to take it in your stride.
David, he's not the pain in the neck. I am. Oh, I could have murdered me if I was him. I was so darn nice and understanding. If I was a boy of 16 and I was as sweet to me as I was to him, phooey.
Your pronouns seem a little confused, but I get the general gist of what you mean. You know something?
What, darling?
I've just discovered that you're going to make a swell mother.
These first fine June days invite anyone who can to set the luncheon table out of doors. Now, I'm going to make a further suggestion. Make it a party luncheon, but make it simple. Have a salad or sandwiches ready, reach into the refrigerator for ice-cold Coca-Cola, and you're all set. That's the smart way to lunch any day of the week. For Coke makes good food taste even better. It enables both you and your guests to lunch refreshed.
Mr. King, have you had any experience with young gentlemen of 16?
Well, can't say I have, Mrs. Brown.
That's too bad. I think a little experience in this household might come in handy.
Jeffrey is quite a handful, isn't he?
That's because he's unhappy and mixed up. If one of us could get inside of him where his unhappiness is, we might be able to help him.
Well, maybe tomorrow will show you the way.
I hope so, for his sake.
As well as for yours.
Maybe I can think of something by tomorrow.
And maybe David will. Anyway, I'll be around to find out.
See you then. Goodbye, Mr. King.
Goodbye, Mrs. Brown. As I was about to say, every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. This broadcast of Claudia was supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
From June 8, 1948, Claudia, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Would you please thank this radio station and support their advertisers? It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. And if you miss a day here, you don't have to miss a single show. Our shows are available through Spotify, through Spreaker, through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Or you can just go to our webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can build your own classic radio collection. That's always good to have. You can also contact me there, find our social media links, and you can also, if you're so interested, buy me a coffee. Or Dr. Pepper, which I prefer. Anyway, have yourself a great day. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.